Garden State Film Festival, and here with me today I have director-writer Laura Sweeney and actress Pearl Shannon, actress Chrissy Penna. How are you all doing today?
Great, thanks. Thanks for having us on. Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you, and thanks for joining today. So, Laura, would you like to tell our live viewers a bit about the film Across?
Sure. Across is a historical drama. It's a short film that's set in 1949. It is about three World War II widows in 1949, and it's the night before their younger sister's wedding. So they take her for like a bridal shower picnic on the beach. And during that day, a corrosive secret from the past reemerges, and they have to find a way past it to move forward. So it was a labor of love. It's a story filled with hope and healing, moving past, a terrible trauma. It's a microscope into our personal lives and how they are impacted by global events.
And what inspired your writing for this?
Originally, I wrote the script years ago, actually. I was working with a cinematographer at the time who had wanted me to write something that was specifically for women in a car and that would have a bridge. And I ended up writing this piece, and I called it Across because they're moving across something. It's their cross to bear. And ultimately, the younger sister, Ruby, played by Pearl Shannon, who's here, is ultimately the bridge to the future. She is what brings them forward so that they can heal and move on with their lives. Yeah.
So Pearl and Christy, how did the three of you guys come together for this film?
Well, speaking of the car, the first time that I think I ever met Chrissy was when we went out to Long Island to the picture car, which is my favorite car I've ever gotten to drive. And we took driving lessons with the owner of the car I think his name is Leonard. I love him dearly. And so the first time that we ever met in person was taking lessons driving the car, because he's the second owner of the car, I believe, or third, and he's had it since like 50 something. So it's a beautiful, beautiful car, and it was a really nice experience to get to know Chrissy and also Cal, one of the producers, and Leonard, and also the beautiful car in a really nice but nerve-wracking way, because it's it's a new experience. It's a stick shift. I've driven stick shift, but Chrissy informed me that she hadn't, so it was nerve-wracking for both of us, and it was also really fun because we just got to go and drive a car.
I can definitely say I've never driven stick shift before. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. I tried once and it did not go well. So I commend you for working through and knowing how to drive stick shift. With that said, I would love to know, a bit about what is it you want your audience to take from this, Across, and also what was filming like for you? So I guess start with, what do you want your audience to take from the film?
I think because it's a short and it's a historical drama, I want the audience to take away a message of hope and moving forward. I think it's accidentally very relevant in this moment we find ourselves in with the pandemic, where the entire world has been impacted by this thing that has happened, but also each of our individual lives. So personally, it's affected our relationships and our connections right here in our own backyards. So I think that the message I'd like the people to take away from this film is that, it's always worth moving forward with hope. Even if, the most terrible things have happened to you, you can still make that choice on some level, no matter how difficult it is. Yeah, also, I would just say, it was fun to make this because it was so cinematic. It's rare that, independent filmmakers get to work in historical drama with this beautiful red car and these, on the ocean and all of these things. We really got to play in a very cinematic field. Yeah. And then I think I'll kick the question to what was it like to film to Chrissy.
uh, yeah, it was really, I mean, I became involved in, like, I think Laura asked me in 2016, and then we didn't film it until now, but, and Pearl, anyway, but all the actresses were wonderful and so fun to work with. And, the, we filmed, at the Holocaust Museum grounds in Glen Cove, New York. So it was all sort of contained and, beautiful. It was a beautiful area, the beach, and then like the woods, and it was mostly outside. And then the costumes and like production design just were amazing. Besides the car, because they were Karen Weber was the production designer, and Muriel Stockdale the costumes. It was so fun to be in that world and to have like kind of studied it before and thought about it. But then when we were there, it felt like we were all friends already. And then Pearl felt like my sister. I mean, driving together really bonded us. Even though she was good at it, naturally. I got my license for this film, so it was amazing and like kind of magical. And the whole team, like Laura is a great director. I'd worked with her before, and I just knew it was gonna be awesome, and then it really was. And like it was I feel like it was like a year and a half ago, but it feels like it could be yesterday. It just feels like in the most best way.
So you say a year and a half ago, so it sounds like you were filming during the pandemic.
Yeah, we filmed in June of 2021. So it was a really interesting moment. It was like shortly after people had just begun to get vaccinated. We really thought like the war is over, everything's fine. This was before the Delta variant, before all these things. So a lot of people on this set, it was their first time being on a set in so long. So there was this kind of like great, like we're having a barbecue kind of energy. And even at moments it was like, okay, guys, we have so much to do today. Like we're all having fun, but we're trying to achieve this gigantic task. So there was this great energy. We had planned it to be all outdoors for shooting because of COVID, which was wonderful on the one side. On the other hand, since we were a union, we could only have 25 people. So we didn't have a lot of manpower to like move large, heavy objects. So it was strenuous, and the location was challenging. We were day one, we were out on the beach all day. It was hot. Then we had to deal with this car, which was a large element. And as Pearl was mentioning, it was like a challenge. It was a bit like beyond even a regular stick shift. It was from the 40s. Yeah, we were very lucky that Pearl had all this experience with driving, which was wonderful. Chrissy and Pearl were wonderful, like totally a collaborative team. We had an incredible team on this project. Loretta Prevo, who's our cinematographer, came on early and was just like a partner in creating this. And we had walked through all the shots before we were there on day one. And our producers, Lissandro Perez Ray and Calvin Gleaden, really brought everything together. But everybody really got along. It was really sort of incredible. It was sort of like a big party the whole time, albeit it was a very tiring, strenuous shoot. Everybody marched into the woods, it was sort of like day 3, it was kind of like, okay, and now we're going to take a hike into the woods, So everybody got on board, and I know it was challenging, but ultimately it really worked out well and it turned out beautifully. So
So you'd say probably the biggest obstacle with this, like due to COVID, would be moving heavy equipment between 25 people?
I think with COVID, just, as an independent producer, doing a union project, the producer is covering, all the COVID testing, costs and all of that. And it is a substantial budget item. We were very lucky. We had a great COVID safety officer. Sophia did a wonderful job for us. But it is like a whole nother element that got thrown into the mix, which we had not expected. So
I think this was before COVID tests were think, allowed to be a prescription.
Oh, no, this was sort of this wasn't 2020, it was 2021. So we were definitely in the, there was like a protocol from the union of how to do it. So everybody tested before coming to set. And then we did have one kiss. And so we had to have a nurse on set doing COVID tests that morning. So, we that stuff was all very new though, so we did our best with it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you also have Who Killed the Coach. Can you tell our live viewers a bit about that and what inspired your writing for it?
Yes. So yeah, Who Killed the Coach is like the polar opposite film from Across. It's like a 5-minute comedy short that was shot in a day with iPhones with a group of people who didn't even know what parts they had until they arrived on set that day. This was another one that was positively impacted by COVID. I think if I hadn't had all that time on my hands, I'm not sure I would have completed this project. But it's a short. It's about a group of women who somebody finds a dead body in the trunk of her car, and then they have their priorities completely mixed up, and it leads to lots of hilarity and fun. So
you would say this was definitely more of a comedy thriller?
for sure, straight up comedy. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like with that one, did you film that one?
That we filmed a while ago, and I wrote this script. It's about this woman who finds a dead body in the trunk of her car, and then she doesn't know what to do, and her friends are like, "Why don't you wait until after your vacation?" And it's just like it goes completely off the rails because of some really crazy choices and priorities. I called a couple of friends and I was like, "Hey, you want to shoot this?" And everybody was like free that Saturday, and they called a few people. And we just shot it. And one of the great parts of shooting that was my high school teacher, who was the very first example I saw of a female director. She was the director of my high school play. She came that day and did one of the parts, Anne Marie Fabricatori. So that was really wonderful to act with her. And that one, that came together in the editing room. It was a little bit chaotic with all the media because we had been so casual about it. But late in the game, we were lucky to find Michelle Botticelli, this great editor who was able to bring it all home so that we can share it with festivals. And I have to say, it is a bit of a crowd pleaser. It's played at a few places now. And it's so funny because Across is like this beloved giant production value film. Everybody's like wonderful, but this other one is like, it's just funny, it's just funny for fun. So I usually write comedy, like dark comedy. That's kind of my zone. Historical drama is a little new to me. So, yeah.
I mean, as someone that enjoys dark comedy myself, I'm sure like many people, you're saying this is a crowd pleaser. It definitely sounds like one. So, with that, what is it that you want your audience to take from it? Just having some good laughs.
I just everybody has a good time. I think that it's situational comedy. Holly Romans is one of the lead actors, and she's like a Long Island based, like she's just done some theater and stuff, but she's like unbelievably funny by accident. And I guess I would like people to take away the spirit of filmmaking can be either of these things. It can be you spend years putting together a production and making this beautiful thing, but it's equally valid to work on a script and pick up your iPhone and find the story, and that is the goal of all of this. And it's so available to all of us, right here and now. And both of them is the same process, so that's very enjoyable to me to screen both of these films at the same festival that were such different experiences, but also essentially the same process.
And with that, is this your first time coming to the Garden State Film Festival?
It is my first time at the Garden State Film Festival. I was supposed to go in 2020. I had written a short called Lost and Found that was directed by Jeremiah Kipp that was selected. But ultimately, I think that year, I can't even remember if it went online or if it didn't happen. But I remember we even had hotel rooms booked. We were so psyched to come.
Yeah,
so I'm really happy.
Unfortunately, but I mean, like, congratulations. So you guys, are you all going to be coming to the film festival this year?
I am.
I have to work. I'm gonna be out of town, so I wish I could be there, but
Well, I mean,
I'm
it was
planning on going.
okay. It was such a pleasure getting to talk to you, Pearl, and like put a face to the name and whatnot. And Laura and Chrissy, it'll be a pleasure to meet you in person. I am
Yeah.
excited to meet you in person. You guys, everyone can come see. So they do film during different blocks. We have Across, which is going to be filming Sunday, March 26th at Asbury Lanes from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then we have Who Killed the Coach from 2:30 to 4:45 on Saturday at the Jersey Shore Arts Center. So, with that said, thank you guys again for taking the time with me today. It was such a pleasure, and I do look forward to meeting you in person. Pearl, it was such a pleasure getting to talk to you. I'm sorry I won't get to meet you in person, but I hope everything works out.
thank you. Yeah, one day we'll get to meet in person. One day we'll
Absolutely.
have a fun. Yeah, thank you so much. It was great to be here. And always great to see you guys. I miss you guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
Of course,
you.
thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Good to meet you.